are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. The Issue, middle of December here, Thursday the 12th, and we got a ton of football to talk. I mean, we are going into week 15 of the NFL season now. Time has flown by. We have teams clinching, looking to claim divisions now. I mean, I know the Eagles are in as of today on Thursday. They are in the playoffs with a little bit of a help from the Seattle Seahawks getting the win against Arizona. Things are all over the place. The Steelers looking fantastic still. The Chiefs looking very, very beatable. And the Bills are the kings of the AFC. I mean, if you can take one thing away from this show, even in a loss, if you can take one thing away from this show, one big overarching hit for the season, it is Tim's take on the Buffalo Bills. They have been fantastic, and they're catching their stride at the right time, which is a big thing. Timeliness in the NFL, huge. So they are looking good. The AFC is looking strong. The NFC is looking strong. We'll get to all of it. We're going to start things off like normal with a rant from Tim on the opposite end of the spectrum, from being good and being fantastic and having playoff hopes. We're going to talk about the Jets to start the show. And what do you do if you're in New York? Where do you go? Your options, you don't have many of them, and there aren't very many good ones. So we're going to discuss that to get things kicked off. Then we will have hits and misses to finish out the first segment. Moving right along into the second segment to cap off the show, we will have our Week 15 predictions and our Week 15 bets on a budget. Now, we had a little bit of a step back, went 1-4 on bets this past week, but sometimes you have to be humbled. We just went 5-0. We had to be humbled there, take a step back, go 1-4, but we are still 64% on the season.
To be fair, that was the worst week of betting in the last 2 years.
Just like overall?
Overall. Like in terms of like public bettors. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the worst week in like 2 years.
I mean, and we took some lines that we felt pretty good about, and then missed by like a point on two of them. So
yeah, the Dolphins Jets game, that was brutal.
Yeah, we were just a step away from having a better week, but nevertheless, we will be back at it this week. Week 15 bets on a budget. You can catch that to round out the show. But guys, no matter how you're joining us today, we appreciate it. Whether you're watching along on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Prime Video, or of course listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the iHeartRadio app. There's a plethora of ways that you can join us, and we appreciate it however you are. This is The Issue.
I feel like the Jets, I was right about one team, I was wrong about the other, right? I said the Bears were going to be very good. I had them in the NFC Championship game. I thought Caleb was going to be good. Now, granted, I think Caleb has been fantastic. I think he is working with absolutely nothing up front and with his coaching staff. Weapons are only so good, but quarterback and weapons are reliant upon coaching staffs and time to make those plays work. So you can have weapons out the ass like the Bears do. It doesn't matter, though, right? So I was wrong about that team, but I was exactly right about the Jets. I said going into the year, I don't think the way to fix an aging, injured roster is to bring in Mike Williams, who's often hurt, two tackles that are often hurt. Obviously, Mike Williams is gone now. Both tackles have had injury issues. Like, I don't know if that was the solution to an aging roster. Defensively, they were poor. As soon as they fired Robert Saleh, I said, that's a bad idea. He may not be great. Easily the best coach you have in-house. It's not like you're firing him to promote the next Sean McVay, right? You had Nat Hackett on one side, and you had this Jeff Albrecht guy who clearly has been a little over his skis up to this point. I think he's won one game, right? So, but both of these teams, I feel like week in and week out, find a new way to lose. Right? The Jets have lost because the offense stinks. Right? They've lost, in that, for example, that game against the Broncos, right? In an absolute rainstorm, they put up, 9 points? So they've lost that way. They've lost in shootouts, right? They've put up 20-plus points and still lost because the defense is really bad, especially post-Saleh. It's a bottom third defense under Jeff Albrecht now. And now they're finding a new way to lose, which is we don't play too bad, right? We bottle up Jonnu Smith, right, who's been a really, really good target for Tua. The defense was good, not great, but it was good for most of the afternoon down in Miami. Aaron Rodgers looked like vintage MVP Aaron Rodgers. The run game was not great, but consistent. They were spreading it around. Devontae Adams getting involved. Garrett Wilson was getting involved. It was a close game. Everybody doubted them on the road. and then you lose it in overtime. They find new ways to lose. So now the question is, what do you do if you're the Jets? You're sitting there, what are they now, 3-10, right? You're now 1-8 under your interim, so he's not the answer, clearly. He shouldn't be coming back in a head coaching role. We can discuss maybe a position coach, but he won't be back in this role. We don't know if Rodgers is coming back. You need a new GM. Your owner's an absolute basket case. What do you do if you're the Jets? Is your solution to go draft the guy? Because they're going to have a pick somewhere in the, let's say, 5 to 10 range. I don't think they're going to be bad enough going for. I think they're going to win 1 or 2 more games. So I don't view them as like a top 3 pick. But they could have the 5th pick, the 7th pick. You know, maybe at worst, I would say the 9th pick. But I think it's going to be under between 4 and 8. They'll have that pick. But at that point, Shedeur will probably be gone. I disagree with that, but I think he's going to be the number 1 pick. Again, we can discuss his film and antics down the road. I disagree, but he'll be the number 1 pick. Again, we've talked about what I think should happen versus what will happen, the Dak Prescott thing being an example. I think he will be the number 1 pick. I think Cam Ward will be a top 3 pick. Again, I disagree. I think Cam Ward's a first-round talent. I think Shedeur's a first-round talent. I wouldn't draft either in the first round. I think there's off-the-field stuff with both. But they'll be top 3 picks. So if you're the Jets, who's the 3rd best quarterback off the board? Are you really going to take Jalen Milroe 6th overall? Are you going to take Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck? I mean, did you guys watch the SEC championship game? It was a joke in terms of quarterback play. Obviously, Beck gets hurt, which that's also another story. What are you going to take a guy who just tore his UCL? Probably not, right? So it was a joke of a quarterback expose. So you're not taking either of those. What's your solution at quarterback? I don't know. I mean, both of those are a pass for me. I'm not drafting, Beck, Ewers, or Milroe in the top 10. I would much rather go get a Derek Carr if they release him, or Kirk Cousins if they're going to go with Penix next year, or maybe even stick with Aaron. He's got another year if he doesn't want to retire. Maybe you stick with him. I don't actually truly believe it's a quarterbacking issue. It's Zach Wilson last year and had a better record than this year. At this point last year, they were 5-7 or something like that at this point in the year. They're 3-10 now. And their quarterback play's been better. Aaron's been bad, but he's not been Zach Wilson bad. So clearly, it's not a quarterback issue. There is a massive gaping hole in culture and head coaching in this organization, and it starts upstairs with the owner. Woody Johnson's an absolute idiot. The front office has been poor, just poor. You can't miss on a left tackle. You can't miss on a quarterback. I don't want to hear about how Joe Douglas hit on a running back here and a DB there and a guy there and a linebacker there. Doesn't matter. If you don't have the tackle, you don't have the quarterback, it does not matter. Right? So the front office is poor, the ownership is poor, so clearly that's going to trickle down to the head coach. I'm not saying Saleh was great, but you never even gave him a chance. Right? You ever seen one of them fat kids in Kmart? You're like, oh, you never even got a chance. Right? Like, I find it very hard to feel bad for an adult where they can make their own decisions, but I feel bad for the 11-year-old who can't see his toes. I'm like, man, they didn't even give you a shot. Right? Or like a poor little girl named Mabel, and she's like 8, and you're like, oh, your parents didn't even give you a chance to be liked in school. Like Gladys, like, God, poor girl is she's overcoming from the first time she shakes somebody's hand and says, nice to meet you, I'm Gladys. She's constantly overcoming, right? That's Robert Saleh with the Jets. And that's any head coach with the Jets. So the only solution to me is you have to go get a strong personality at head coach that can overcome all of that, right? There's only really 2 on the market. I don't think either of them should take the job. I think one definitely would be Belichick. I think you'd come in and be like, hey, we'll give you 75% power in terms of GM, right? We'll give you most of the power. You have veto power, and you have most of the power in the draft room, and obviously you're the head coach. Or Mike Vrabel. And I don't think either one of them should take the job. I don't think either one of them will take the job because I think Belichick, first of all, he doesn't like the Jets. I don't think he wants to take the Jets. I don't think he wants to work for Woody Johnson. And I think he's going to wait for maybe the Cowboys job comes open, right? Maybe if Philly gets bounced in the first round, I know Sirianni's had a good year. If they get bounced and humiliated in the first round, that job will be open. So I think Belichick's going to wait for that, or maybe he does the whole college thing, which sounds awful, but regardless. And I think Vrabel's going to get a call to go be the Bears coach, and we'll talk about that job down the road. Not sure that's much better, but it's definitely a better job than the Jets under Woody Johnson. That's not a real debate. So those are the only 2 or 3 guys. You're gonna have to go get a culture setter, a proven guy, and I don't know where that is. I don't know, right? So we can sit here and talk about, they need this, they need that. They need a guy to run the damn franchise because nobody in the front office knows what they're doing. And there's no hope on the horizon. What's the solution to quarterback? I don't have an answer. What's the solution to head coach? I don't know. What's the solution to GM? I have no idea. Right? There's a ton of bad teams in this league that have hope on the horizon. The Panthers, it actually looks like Bryce can play. All right, you have some hope. He's at least competitive. He's at least interesting. All right, the Giants, I know it could be. Yeah, at least have a good coach. You at least have a decent fan base. Right? Like, there's hope on the horizon for some bad teams. I don't know what the hope is in New York. There's nothing. So I don't have the answer. I know for a fact you have to go get a strong personality who can make strong decisions, doesn't have to answer to Woody Johnson, can actually put his foot down in that organization, or else they're just going to keep getting steamrolled by Woody Johnson, who doesn't know what's going on. There's no idea what's going on.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And then you look and you turn. So they ran Sam Darnold out of town. Did you see him this week? 5 touchdowns?
Pretty good.
Leading the Minnesota Vikings to a lot of wins.
He has 28 touchdown passes. 28. They have 4 games left. 28 touchdown passes.
You look at well-run organizations and how players fit into there. A guy that was cast aside by the Jets and then cast aside by the Panthers finally finds a place in Minnesota that supports him, that has the requisite talent around him, the requisite talent in the front office and in the ownership positions, all of that. And he looks like a damn good quarterback. Top of the league right now, Sam Darnold. Show that to the Jets. This is what it could look like. This is what it could have been.
28 touchdown passes. For the record, Zach Wilson in his career has 23, and Aaron this year has 20.
And I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it, but this is just what bad franchises look like. I mean, look at Caleb Williams. Like you said, he can play football. You can see it. The talent is there. But when you get sacked, I just looked at the stat, 57 times this year. 57 times. How do you expect a young quarterback, first of all, that is his first year in the league, he's a rookie, how do you expect him to overcome being sacked 57 times and still win games, look decent? Like, you're going to run him into the ground. You're going to run him into the dirt, and it's going to be the same old story for the Bears. It's going to be the same old story for the Jets.
There is a massive... Everybody thinks that just because there's a salary cap and a salary floor, and then that all these owners are rich... These owners are not the same. Stan Kroenke in L.A. with the Rams, the Hunt family with the Chiefs, the Rooneys with the Steelers, like the Bashottis with the Ravens. These are not the same as the Jets, as the Panthers, as the Browns.
Right.
They are not in the same stratosphere of front office management ownership. Not even close.
And it shows. Because on the Steelers down year, they're still 500.
I mean, it'd be like comparing the Pirates ownership to the Mets, who just paid $1 billion for Juan Soto, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it is not even the same game in the NFL.
No, and it's quite evident. Good one there. We've been right on the Jets. You've been right on the Jets. That was a good one. Guys, we're going to move into hits and misses, go over where we were right and wrong some more. Let's go.
All right, hit number 1. What is our saying that we always say for the Cleveland Browns?
The Browns are going to Brown. There's a mistake on the lake.
They're just poorly run. I mean, the first one was what I was looking for. You nailed it. 21 straight regular season losses in Pittsburgh for the Browns.
Love it.
21. 21 straight years they've gone into Pittsburgh for their normal game, the home and home as it is in every division across football, and they've lost 21 straight years in Pittsburgh. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense.
No, it speaks to what the incompetence of the Browns. Is that it?
Well, and I would say it speaks to the generational incompetence, because it's not purely a coach and a quarterback problem. It's a GM ownership. Like it is a more umbrella issue, clearly, because it has transcended coaches and quarterbacks and GMs. It's got to be upstairs, right?
I mean, but just like even that goes against mathematical statistics. Like just statistically, out of 21 chances, you should win one of them.
That's probably the longest streak of such in maybe the history. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
It's got to be the longest streak.
I'm sure I heard a couple announcers say something during the game, but 21 years is wild.
So Jameis is clearly not that good of a quarterback. He's talented. He's not that good. I'd put him as like a C-plus quarterback in the league. He's probably anywhere between the 20th and 27th best quarterback in football.
But it's a great backup.
Good backup, yeah. He looks light years ahead of Deshaun Watson, and there is no out of that. What do you do if you're Cleveland? There's no out. There's no end in sight.
Nobody's going to take any of it off your hands. Like, you are just stuck. Like, you're stuck. Like, you're almost in the same situation as the Jets, except you have more competent of a head coach, better
at least the
pieces.
Jets have flexibility. What do? Are you just going to pay $80 million in dead cap money over the next 3 years as you draft a rookie
I
quarterback?
think that's what you have to do.
I disagree. I don't know what you can do. That can't be the solution. I don't have it. But there's no way that can be the solution.
It's not a good one, but I think that's the out of all the solutions, the best.
Do you
Who's
just
going to
go-
take them off your hands?
Do you
Nobody.
just go take the entire Georgia roster and just say, screw it, we're just gonna pay $200 million. Our entire salary cap is gonna be Deshaun Watson's dead cap. We're just gonna eat it for a year. Pay $200 million in dead cap money and just pay a bunch of practice squad guys, and we're just gonna go 0-17.
Well, I mean, yeah. At least,
Like, can you even do that? Is that even legal?
I don't know, but let them play. I mean, you're paying them. Might as well let them play. It doesn't look good, though. It hasn't.
It's fair. Mr. Number One here. Chicago continues. I said it earlier.
sacks.
They just continue to amaze me, and in all the wrong ways. They continue to lose games in ways I didn't know you could lose games. I didn't know you could have 4 yards at halftime in a real NFL game. 4 yards. 4
yards.
4.
They
Might as well just spike the ball every time.
to the opposing.
Four.
They had like 300 yards on San Francisco's end at that
Doesn't even
same
make-
time.
It doesn't even make sense. So we talked about the Jets' coaching dilemma. Who should you hire if you are Chicago? I would say go hire Vrabel. Throw a bunch of money.
Yeah, why not?
You could have hired a proven commodity in Harbaugh who wanted the job, wanted to work with Caleb, wanted to work in Chicago, and you cheaped out and you didn't hire him. You took the lesser option, the cheaper option.
Now you're going to pay for it.
Don't cheap out this time. Go pay Vrabel the money that he deserves to coach that dumpster fire of a team. That would be my solution.
Yeah, you have to find a real legitimate head coach. And, I mean, Belichick would be an answer, but I don't think he wants that job. I don't think you could persuade Belichick into taking that job with Chicago. He's talking about taking the North Carolina job.
I don't want my young quarterback within the same zip code as Bill Belichick. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would take Vrabel tenfold over him.
Yeah.
Easily. Hit number 2 here. Sammy Darnold. We said it when he was in Carolina. The kid has talent. Well, no wonder he sucked when you gave him the Jets dysfunction. Look who's succeeded there since. Let's start with nobody and go from there.
Yep.
When you give him Carolina, I mean, Bryce Young's a very talented player. He looked minuscule in that situation. Sam Darnold is clearly a number one talent, a number one, first round pick talent, and it just took him time to find the guy that can coach him correctly. Clearly, Kevin O'Connell's that guy. Do we think Kevin O'Connell's coach of the year material?
I'd give it to Tomlin, to be completely honest. I think he's up there. O'Connell's in the conversation. But I think the whole Sam Darnold thing, it just speaks to what happens when you finally put a good quarterback in a situation where they can thrive, where they have the pieces, they have everything, they have, I guess, all the tangibles there. Like,
Sure.
Everything's lined up. All you have to do is not throw picks.
So my question to you, do you re-sign Sam Darnold? Word out last week, J.J. McCarthy needed a second surgery on his meniscus because of swelling.
Why not?
What are the odds, historically speaking, what are the statistical odds that J.J. McCarthy is as good as Sam Darnold one day?
Very low.
Less than 50%?
Very low.
I mean, let's look around. We talked about it with the whole Michael Penix situation. Caleb appears to be a franchise guy. Jaden appears to be a franchise guy. Bo Nix appears to be a franchise guy. Statistically speaking, that means Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy are going to be downright horrendous.
Yep,
Zach
bust.
Wilson, Trey Lance, bust.
Yep.
So, do you just pay Sam Darnold? He's still young enough. He's only 27, 28. He's still young enough. You can give him a 4 or 5 year deal and not be concerned he's going to age out of it. I think I would.
I mean, why not?
I think I would, and I'd go get a first for J.J. McCarthy.
Exactly. And then you can even continue to build around that, and that can turn into a Super Bowl caliber team. Like, the Vikings are a very, very solid, they're a solid franchise right now. Like, they have a lot of things going right.
GM is good. You draft Jordan Addison. We think McCarthy's a good draft pick, although I'd still move off him. The left tackle's good. The center's good. They've drafted a ton of good pieces, acquired good pieces in free agency, so I like the direction of the franchise.
And don't mess it up, by the way. Like, don't mess it up and go try to draft a quarterback. Don't sign Darnold and play this whole game. You are in division with the Detroit Lions, who are becoming scarier and scarier by the week. That's going to be a tough team to compete with.
I think I'd sign Sam. Miss number 2 here. We'll breeze through this one. I don't want to talk about it. We've dropped to 64% on bets, 1-4 week. Just 1 week after going 5-0, so don't bail. Look, we're still 8% above the sharp line. We're going to be fine. I like our picks this week. That's all I have to say.
Even Josh Allen, even the best quarterbacks in the league have a week here and there where they come up to throw a bunch of picks. It looks horrible. We're going to bounce back.
Yeah, hit number 3 here. A lot of people were whining and complaining about conference realignment and the 12-team playoff. Well, they are
on it.
They are bound to set records. I said that they had a problem with big games. How many games are there per week? And there's 50 games in college football every weekend. Before conference realignment, you needed to watch like 2.
Maybe.
Now it's like, it may not be the best game, but I get Wisconsin USC in Camp Randall at night. Like, I'm at least flipping through the channels and turning it on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and neither of them were very good this year. There's more upsets, there's more good games, there's better debates, there's, the flag planting, the brawls. Like, I love it. I think college football has never been better. Cannot wait for the 12-team playoff. People think that college football, if it was a stock, would you buy it? Do you think it's trending up or down?
Right now, I would have bought it as soon as they announced the 12-team playoff, because that's where it really started to take off. It's growing for sure. I don't think it'll ever be as big as the NFL or as prosperous as the NFL, but it is definitely on the right track. If it was a stock, I'd buy it today.
I don't think that's crazy. Miss number 3 here. We've talked a couple times about maybe the MLB will institute a cap or a floor. I think it'd be in the best interest of the league, in the best interest of actually drawing fans to the ballpark, which is where they make most of their revenue.
Yep.
Clearly, that's not going to happen. Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense. That's bringing into question if we will ever see a cap or floor in the MLB. I think there is a chance in the collective bargaining agreement, which is coming up, they're going to have one more year after this coming season. They're up for a CBA negotiation. I think you could see a floor. I don't think you're going to see a cap. There's a chance you see a floor.
I think a floor would be helpful. I guess. What? The Mets payroll now is higher than the entire... just Soto alone is making more than the entire Pittsburgh Pirates payroll.
Over the last 10 years.
Yes.
The Pirates over the last 10 years have not spent $765 million over their entire team for 10 years combined.
And now it's getting shot out to one player.
Right? So they've committed that to one player. Pirates haven't committed that in 10 years to the whole team. Yeah. So I do think a floor would be smart.
Just to put that into perspective too, I saw a post from ESPN. The contract for Soto is more than LeBron's contract and Tom Brady's contract combined over the lifetime of their...
just their career earnings.
Yeah, yes.
Absurd.
That's what I mean. Like, over the entire career.
Yeah, not counting off the field stuff. Like,
yes.
Their contract earnings.
Yes.
Absurd.
One contract.
Combined.
Insane.
Yes.
That's it to misses. Is that all?
That's it.
Guys, we will be back on the other side of the break. We will have our Week 15 predictions and our Week 15 bets on a budget, looking to bounce back from our 1-4 showing in Week 14.
All right, welcome back in. The issue, second segment. I don't even know what day it is. I know it's December.
The 12th.
Okay, it's the 12th. Thank you for that. Of December. We are going into Week 15 of the NFL season. If you missed it, we had hits and misses, and of course, a rant per usual. In the last time we talked about the Jets, their dysfunction. What do you do at head coach? What do you do at quarterback going forward? Like I said, we had hits and misses. We discussed the Bears, Juan Soto's contract, all that fun stuff. However you got here, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Amazon. I'm probably leaving out a couple, but we appreciate you getting here. Make sure you like, review, follow, subscribe, download, all the fun stuff, comment. I don't even know. Probably leaving out algorithm things, but we appreciate it. This is the issue.
Yeah, like, subscribe, whatever it is. However you're watching the show, toss us a follow, toss us a like on there, a comment. We appreciate it. We'll look at it. But we got a good one here. So, Week 15 predictions, right? So now we're looking at the back half of the very, very tail end of the season. 4 weeks left to play here. You are down by 4 weeks in predictions.
Sweep.
So you have to clean sweep it, and you are down by...
like 11 games, I think?
No.
Is it worse?
12.
Okay, all right.
You're down by 12 games.
Doable. So when I go 7-0 this week, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we have 7 splits.
It'll be great.
Very indifferent here. It should be good. So we'll just jump right into it. We have every single pick for every single game in Week 15. Let's go.
Rams at the Niners. I both are coming off of, short rest. Obviously, this is the tonight game here. I'm taking the Niners. I think it's the one last stand here for a franchise that has a lot of pride and has had a lot of success. From here on out, it's basically win or go home, right? You're 6-7. You're a game behind the Rams. You're 2 games behind Seattle. You're a game back of the wild card. So it's basically eat or be eaten from this point forward. I just feel like this franchise, this coaching staff, this entire team has way too much pride to just roll over and quit. I think you're going to get one last big stand. And what are the odds we see an offensive explosion like that out of the Rams again? Probably not, right? Teams that play that well tend to come back down to earth. They got lucky with a punt block. It's not lucky, but those things tend to balance out. I'm going to take the Niners, and the line reflects what I'm saying. They're favored by 2.5. I'm taking the Niners to win.
Okay, I'm going to take the Rams just based off the fact that McVay owns Shanahan head-to-head, so I will take that. I think I'm going to trust Stafford way more than I trust Brock Purdy.
Dude, Brock's way better.
Whoa.
Kidding. But
I'll take the Rams here.
Cowboys at the Panthers. I pick the Panthers like twice a year, and here's one of them. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Panthers. Them being at home, I just like that. I don't know. I like them being at home. Bryce has been pretty good. He's been pretty good since he was benched. So I like the Panthers. Coming back home, Cowboys, a little bit of a short week. I'll take the Panthers.
I'm taking the Cowboys just because I can't bring myself to take the Panthers, but I will say this is a very good week to pick the Panthers for you because I'm not quite sure what Dallas does well anymore. I mean, Dak's out, obviously.
Pass rush is decent with Micah, but it's not great.
There's really nothing to hang your hat on in Dallas, and the Panthers played the Chiefs pretty tight. I'll take the Cowboys, but I'm cautious.
Fair. Jets at the Jags. We got a couple that we agree with here, so we'll quickly go through, and we both like the Jets. I don't really know why. Am I going to pick Mac Jones? No. So there's your answer.
No, he was horrible last week.
Yeah, somehow they won, but that's because Will Levis was even worse.
Yes.
Commanders at the Saints. We're pretty sure Derek Carr's out, right? Is that true?
He broke his hand. So,
good. Yeah, so he's out. Yeah, I'm not good, but good for us because we're picking the Commanders.
Right,
so
yeah, I'll take the Commanders, Jaden Daniels all day.
Yeah, Bengals at the Titans. I cannot pick Will Levis. I can't pick that coaching staff. I'm going to take Joe Burrow on the Bengals.
Well, plus they've been playing good football. I mean, the Bengals have been
Their defense sucks, but their offense is really, really good.
Right, and at some point, these stats that Burrow and company is putting up has to translate to a win.
Hopefully. We'll see. Chiefs at the Browns. Chiefs are a better team. I like Kansas City.
Chiefs all day. The only thing, though, is watch. I am very, very, very cautious when it comes to the Chiefs. They have almost lost so many games now. They're bound to slip up and start losing.
This feels like one where Jameis throws 2 picks and the Chiefs have a mini offensive explosion, like a 30-point game. Nothing crazy, but 30. Dolphins at the Texans, which is weird because you're a Texans guy. I haven't been necessarily a Dolphins guy. You're kind of a Dolphins and Texans guy, so it's a big thing for you.
Yeah.
You're taking the Fins.
Yeah.
I'm going the Texans. They're coming off a bye. I like them better.
I don't trust C.J. Stroud anymore. I don't. He was my guy going into this year. I really liked what I saw from him early season. He's thrown a lot of picks.
Both of our guys kind of flopped. I had Caleb, you had CJ. Not good.
It's just not that great. I'll take the Dolphins.
Fair enough. Ravens at the Giants. Ravens are a better team. The 14.5 is crazy. To me, it's a stay away game because that massive spread, I usually like to throw it out because that's just so many points.
Yeah, but where are the points coming from in New York? Where are they scoring?
I don't know.
Points?
The Ravens are always good for one blowout a year, and they haven't had one yet, so I think this is going to be the one. Bucks to the Chargers. I'm taking the Bucks. I feel like I'm getting the healthier team. The Chargers are banged up. McConkey's in and out of the lineup. Justin Herbert's getting cracked. He's questionable going into this week, so I'm going to take the healthier team. May not necessarily be the better team, but when you include the injuries into it, I do feel like the Bucks have more guys in their prime that are actually on the field.
Okay.
Chargers kind of young. A lot of guys in before their prime or out of their prime. The guys in their prime are all hurt, so I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Plus, Baker's a gamer, man. I'm going to take the Chargers here just on the pure fact that I like Justin Herbert. I think he's going to play. I think he'll be better in a sense.
He'll be 85% of himself, probably.
At the same time, I am a little bit wary of it just because Baker does just find a way to win games. That's what Baker does best.
He's a gamer. Steelers at the Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles. Sorry, had to fade the Steelers at some point. I'm going to do it now.
That's crazy. Actually, that's not crazy. This is the toughest game that Pittsburgh has had this year. I'm going to take the Steelers just because I got a feeling about it. I think the Eagles on any given Sunday can play down.
Oh yeah, they played down to the Panthers this past week. It's absolutely possible.
So I'm taking the Steelers. This is one where, I mean, I think they're in bets on a budget. You'll see where kind of more how we feel when we get to there. But I'm taking the Steelers.
Pat's the Cards. Cards are a better team. I worry about their consistency, right? Like the Cardinals, you'll get a really good game and then an awful game. But they're coming off a couple straight losses, so I have a feeling they're going to kind of come back to that waterline and play pretty well.
Right, and there's not really been much offensive production in New England.
True. Colts of the Broncos. Would you call it the Pony Bowl or the Horse Bowl?
The Horse Bowl.
The Horse Bowl. Well,
Yeah.
the Broncos are a better team, so we'll take the Broncos.
Yeah, and whatever is going on in Indianapolis
Also,
does not look good.
Dome team going outside in altitude, a little bit chilly in Denver. That to me is a huge factor.
And Bo Nix is playing his ass off. So.
Absolutely. Bills at the Lions. We said
Game of the week.
I could die on either hill here. I'm going to take the Lions because they're at home. That place is very tough to win in when, 425, game of the week. That place is going to be sold out. It's going to be rocking. I'm going to take the Lions.
Weird kind of roles were reversed here as well. Because you've always been a big Bills guy, especially this year.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Lions guy. I'm going to go out and I'm going to take the Bills just based off of the absolute showing that Josh Allen put on this past week. At some point, it's like the Burrow thing. At some point, that has to translate to a victory. I mean, they're putting a lot of trust on in Josh Allen's hands, but he's got to win him one.
I'm going to predict a 2-interception game from Josh Allen.
Getting a little frisky with
Getting a little frisky.
Okay.
Packers at the Seahawks. I'm very surprised you took the Seahawks here. I'm going Packers.
I'm going Seahawks.
Just being different.
Yeah,
being edgy.
It's a scrappy team. Gino's a scrappy guy.
All right, fair enough. Bears the Vikings. We're getting into the Monday night games. There's 2 this coming week. I like the Vikings over the Bears. I was a Bears guy. My spirit's been broken.
You put that hat away?
They've lost 7 straight.
You put the Caleb Williams jersey, kind of tucked it away in the closet?
Yeah, it's folded up. No, I cut it in half.
You cut it in half, set it on fire?
No, I still like Caleb. I just don't like the organization.
No, yeah, I'm not taking the Bears this week.
Falcons at the Raiders. Falcons, I think, are going to bounce back. There's no way Kirk can play this bad consistently, so I'll take the Falcons.
Well, there's no way that the Raiders can win either. I mean,
they're also starting Desmond Ritter.
They're horrible.
Starting Desmond Ritter. So I like the Niners. You like the Rams. I got the Panthers and the Texans. You have the Cowboys, Dolphins, respectively. I got Bucks, Eagles, Lions. You have Chargers, Steelers, and Bills in those 3 games, and then we'll finish up on that Sunday night game. I have the Packers, you have the Seahawks.
There we go. Guys, those are the Week 15 predictions, so check them out. Support your boy Timbo over here. He needs some wins. He needs a sweep these last 4 weeks to at least get it to a tie so that the tiebreaker matters. But that is it. We are now going to move in to Week 15, bets on a budget, the 5 best spreads from around the league that we could find. Here we go.
So last week, I kind of went away from some of my trends. I always like to bet -4 because I think that's the lowest number you get when Vegas is telling you that there's a certain side. Well, we bet a +4 last week and it burned us, right? I usually like, when it's 6.5, I like to go with the -6.5. That's a trend. It screwed us last week. So these trends tend to balance out. We went against one trend. We went with one trend. They both screwed us. That tends to balance out. So we're going to go back to our trends here for a couple of them. One being the Kansas City Chiefs -4 at Cleveland.
Okay.
I like the -4 number. I like the fact that Mahomes has to. There has to be one game down the stretch where he goes off. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it feels like a 30-point explosion. Jameis throws 2 picks, and Mahomes looks maybe not vintage Mahomes, but very good, very productive, like a 3-touchdown performance. I think it's this game. I think it's very 31-20 type of game.
And plus, the thing is, and what I always try to think of is where are the points going to come from on the other side of the football? Jameis is not that great of a thrower of a football. So you look at the running game, and Kansas City's run defense is pretty solid, especially up the middle. So I don't think Chubb is going to be able to break too much. I don't think Ford will be able to break too much. So I do love that one here. The Chiefs will be the Chiefs, and the Browns should be the Browns. So we're banking on that.
Cincinnati -5 at Tennessee. I cannot believe that Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite at home. Put up 6 points against the Jags, who are downright awful. Just awful. A lame duck coach, a quarterback who isn't even playing. You have a backup quarterback.
One of the worst defenses in the league.
Tennessee has to be. I know that they are not record-wise the worst team in football. I think they may be the worst team in football. I think Will Levis is the worst quarterback. To me, he's not even a second string. He's a third string quarterback. I'm taking Cincinnati, and I like it. I like them by a landslide. I'm going to go 38-13 Cincinnati.
I like that one too, and Burrow's been putting it together. Burrow has been looking consistently better week in, week out. It's going to translate to a win, especially here in a big one.
Denver -4 versus Indianapolis. Dome team going on the road, high altitude, chilly weather. Supposed to be, I think, down in the 30s on Sunday for that game. So I'm taking Denver. And again, it's a -4. We like to bet -4s. That's the lowest number you're going to get where Vegas is telling you the side. -4, I love it. And also, Bo Nix has been not just the best of the rookie quarterbacks, he's been a top 3 fourth quarter quarterback among the entire league. He's been fantastic. So even if it's close, I feel like we can get a cover because Bo Nix in that offense is so much better in the fourth quarter.
Love that one. And Denver's a place where home field really matters. Like that is a drastic change. You can look at it week to week, teams going places, but when you're going up in elevation a mile, the air's thinner. There's just something different about that game. I like Denver. I like them by a lot.
Pittsburgh +5 or at Philadelphia.
Whew.
Tomlin is underdog, free money. I think it's going to stay very close. I have Philly winning. Feels very 23-21, last second type of game. Whoever has the ball last type of game wins. Start slow. I think it's going to be like a 6-3 game at half. Sluggish start. Then you'll see them start to kind of pick it up in the third quarter. Last possession in the fourth quarter wins it. I'm going to go Philly by a hair, but I love the +5 number.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh to win this one, so obviously I'm going to love this bet. It's going to be super close, though. I mean, this is going to be, I don't want to say a shootout because I don't think there's going to be too much offensive production on either side of the football. I think the Steelers, if they can stop the run and Saquon, will be just fine. I don't think you'll get burnt too bad. I mean, you do have some pretty solid weapons on Philadelphia, but I mean, the Pittsburgh defense is going to do what the Pittsburgh defense does. And then I think the Philly defense is pretty solid, too. They're going to get a good pass rush. Russ is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a close game. I like the Steelers by about 2 points.
And then finally, New England +6.5 at Arizona. We bet a -6.5 last week. It burned us. We're going to see if we can't learn from our mistakes there. We're going to go with the +6.5 with New England. Coming off a bye. Love that. And Arizona had a hard-fought loss. Do they continue that slump, right? Do they continue that trend? Divisional game, tough divisional game. Are they a little bit beat up? Are there some injuries? I like the more rested team to come in and at least keep it close. I think Arizona wins. I'm going to go 27-21, but we get a narrow cover with New England.
Plus, Arizona's a very flashy, contemporary offense, and we know what that looks like when New England goes in and plays teams like that. Generally, they're not going to blow them out of the water, but it's going to stay very, very close, and that's usually a game where New England will pull out a surprise victory and maybe get a win there. So, yeah, that's a good bet too. Solid.
That's it.
Run it back through.
We have Cincinnati -5, Kansas City -4, Denver -4, Pittsburgh and New England as our underdogs at +5 and +6.5 respectively.
Very nice. Guys, looking for another 5-0 week, something to get us back on the horse after taking that 1-4 drubbing that we took this last week. But still sitting at what, 64% on the season? Yeah, 64%. So well above the sharp line. Guys, if you're not betting with us, you're just missing out on money. So go ahead. Take those bets this week. Straight bet them, parlay them, whatever you want to do, whatever is going to make you happy here. But we only have a little bit of football left. We're going into week 15. If you're not going to bet now, when the hell are you going to do it? Anyway, guys, we will be back next week, episode 255 on the docket. We will be going over week 16, reviewing week 15. We really appreciate you hanging out with us here today, and that was The Issue.